I call to order the Finance Outreach and Planning Committee. There were no items moved from the consent agenda, so we'll move into our regular agenda. And the first item is the district social media update. Michelle Sager.
Mr. Chair, as Michelle's approaching, this is an interesting item. If you remember several years ago, I came to you talking about how we were going to look forward to using social media, and at some point we would come back and give you a report on how that had evolved and grown, and that's what Michelle's going to do today. So with that set up, I'm going to turn that over to her.
Good morning. I'm Michelle Sager, Senior Communications Coordinator, and today I'm going to be providing you with a brief update on our social media, the gains we've made since joining, and the benefits we're seeing from that. Social media use has exploded in the last decade. Nearly 2/3 of American adults use social networking sites like Facebook and Twitter to communicate user-driven messages. That's up from just 7% 10 years ago. Facebook alone has 1.65 billion users worldwide. Here in our district, our 2015 district-wide public perception survey found social media use was up for all platforms, and more than half of our residents surveyed use Facebook at least a few times a week. Here at the district, we joined social media in 2009, first with a Facebook page and then a Twitter account. This allowed us as a government agency to be part of a two-way conversation with our residents in a new way. Today, we've expanded to Pinterest, Instagram, Google+, LinkedIn, YouTube, and a blog. Each platform serves different audiences and different purposes, but all fall under our communications planning. If you visit our social media sites, you might see an article on a restoration project, or a profile on one of our staff experts, or a video explaining the e-permitting process. I work with our public affairs staff and our other divisions across the district to curate the content for our channels. We've also trained some staff to identify items that would be appropriate for social media. Our two most popular platforms are Facebook and Twitter, and here you can see how we've grown since joining. Our numbers are comparable to the other water management districts. However, we do have the largest Facebook audience, and we rank second on Twitter behind South Florida. And for anyone not familiar, what I'm showing you here are followers. So these are people who have chosen to like our pages. Where in this next slide, I'm going to be talking to you about reach. And when I talk about reach, I'm talking about the total number of people who see our messages, whether they follow our pages or not. And in FY14, the combined social media reach was 157,000 impressions. In FY15, that number grew to 1.3 million. Numerous factors contributed to this. We did have a post go viral last year about Three Sister Springs that was seen by 500,000 people. But also, we're spending more time being strategic about the content we're creating, posting, and promoting on our social media sites. Also, this jump is significant when you think about the competitive nature of social media. If you think about your own feeds, we're competing with things like amusement parks and restaurants and family photos. So the fact that a water management agency can reach this many people is pretty significant. There are many benefits to social media, but probably the largest is that we can communicate directly to the audience. This is especially important because traditional media is shrinking. 3 weeks ago, Tampa had 2 newspapers. Now they have 1. Not as many people watch the 6 o'clock news, but people are going to their feeds and they are getting news and information from them. That's why it's so important for us to build a reputation on social media, especially when you think about emergency situations like weather events, which we've experienced in the last couple of years and have seen a spike in our traffic. It's important that people know we're on social media so they can get accurate information directly from us. Social media is also great for customer service. People like that they can message us with a question, and we can direct that question to the expert and sometimes get them an answer back within a couple of hours. Social media is cost efficient. Most of these sites are free or charge a small fee to promote a post, which is significantly less than traditional advertising. Social media also allows us to do geographic targeting. We use this now with prescribed burns. When we have a prescribed burn that might affect a nearby neighborhood, we can tweet directly at those homeowners associations and give them a heads up about that burn and any changes that might occur. We've had positive response from residents with this because they often don't see a traditional press release. And social media is great for job recruitment, not just for finding candidates, but also for displaying our own culture here at the district, our mission, vision, and values. Because a recent survey found that 61% of millennials and Generation Z use social media to scope out an employer. We use a variety of content tools on our social media sites: videos, photo galleries, infographics, articles, important links. And a great example of how we take all of these channels and all these tools and use them together is our annual Restoring Our Springs social media campaign. This social media effort is part of a larger campaign that targets our northern counties with messages about how we're restoring the springs in those areas. And so during this time period, you might see a tweet with an expert or an infographic on Facebook. We've used Instagram to hold photo contests in the past and selfie frames at events. And we tie those messages together with the hashtag Restoring Our Springs. And through our social media alone, we've been able to reach 500,000 people each year. I mentioned infographics. We do a lot of scientific and technical work here at the district, and infographics are a great way to just take a small nugget of what we do and present it in a visual way. Some examples of how we've used this are when we've had an aerial burn, or when we complete a restoration project, we might break that down by the number. And when we have water conservation tips, we often use these on Twitter. They're very popular, and actually other agencies like to share them as well. But by far, our most popular tool is Twitter. And it's predicted by 2017, 69% of all traffic on the internet will be video-based. Here at the district, we use a variety of type of videos. It can be something as simple as an underwater video of a spring, or we might take a staff member and put them in front of a project and have them provide an update. Or if it's one of our more elaborate initiatives, we might do a full-on production like we did with the Springs team video. As you can see, we have received quite a bit of recognition on the local, state, and national level for our social media efforts. We've won a total of 16 awards in the past 3 years related to our social media content. And in addition to everything that I've mentioned to you here today, we're also thinking about what's next, because social media is constantly changing. As I'm talking to you now, a new app is being developed, a new rule is being written. So we're constantly researching and testing new platforms and tactics to figure out what are the best tools to serve our residents. But among all these changes, the one message continuously emphasized is that social media is a growing force in how agencies like ours communicate with the public and will continue to play an important role. And with that, if there are any questions, I'm happy to take them.
I was really surprised, and probably shouldn't have been. I get quite the good feedback when we do burns. It's amazing to me the people who get that social media. I'm not going to say which one because I really don't know. I'm going to have to learn, and we're going to get to know each other real well here shortly. I'm not sure if I'm a twit or a Twitter, but we're going to figure it out one way or the other. So, but I've been just amazed. The people say, boy, that is a great, we know what you're doing. Before you get the calls, there was smoke in the sky. Now they know and tell me, hey, thanks for the, whatever it is. So it's really working well, and I commend you for it. That's really something. So it's working. I can tell you that. So.